In the recent episode of the Thousand Year Blood War anime, Shinji's Bankai was revealed, and of course, it got people talking as usual. We already know the big three fandom are always going at each other, so when this dropped, all the power scaling wars just came back up. And besides, this was always a thing even before the Thousand Year Blood War arc got animated. People talking about the insane power of this Bankai. So, the question is, can Shinji's Bankai solo the Narutoverse? Well, let's see. This Bankai has the ability to reverse the target's perception of friend or foe, which means people take their allies for enemies and end up killing each other. And the way this works, Shinji Zanpakuto releases a pink mist just like a Shikai, and anyone who inhales this mist is immediately caught under its effects. As for the caster himself, a golden flower petal erupts from the ground, and with Shinji in the center, the petals cover him around so he's completely protected from the effects of his own attack. So yeah, it's a pretty scary ability. Now back to the main question. Will Shinji be able to use this Bankai to solo the Narutoverse? The answer is no, and I have a couple of reasons for this. For one, he simply won't be able to get the attack off. If you didn't know, an ability or an attack is only as relevant as if it lands. So what that means is, in a typical battle scenario, for Shinji to solo the Narutoverse, he would have to get every single character, every single fighter in the verse under the effects of his Bankai, and that's never going to happen because he is too slow. Yes, he's too slow. And then not only is he not fast enough to pull it off, because Shinji's attack speed is significantly way below that of the high tiers of the Narutoverse. There's also way many characters with precognitive abilities and danger sense, which will prompt them to guard and evade even before the Bankai completely activates. So unless you remove common sense away from this battle and somehow make it that every character in the Narutoverse is just simply standing there like a dummy, waiting to get hit for no reason, that Bankai is just not catching everybody. Before he says ban Killer Bee, Raikage them, they would have sent him to the Shadow Realm with a lariat. That's just what it is. Now, you're probably going to say that this first reason is just a cop-out. It's not like they have an actual resistance to the ability. It's all nothing but battle counters, and I'm not so sure about that, and this brings me to my second point. Now, this one is debatable, but I'm standing on it because it's actually pretty logical. Now, we know Shinji's Bankai reverses the mental perception of friend or foe, but it's highly unlikely that it would affect characters who have a whole separate entity in them with their own mind and soul, like the Jinchurikis for example. The mental dynamic of the Jinchuriki works in such a way that because the Bijus and the Jinchurikis are two separate beings with two separate minds, attacks that affect the Jinchuriki don't automatically affect the Biju. And this is why Jinchurikis are immune to Genjutsu, because the Bijus don't get affected, so they're able to snap them out of it. So here's my point exactly. Bijus have a mind of their own which is completely independent of their Jinchurikis. So let's say Jinchurikis like Naruto or Killer Bee were to get hit with Shinji's Bankai. It will probably affect them, all things considered, but that still leaves Kurama and Gyuki in their heads to tell them that all this shit is fake, and then the Bankai is rendered ineffective. So it's highly unlikely that it will affect characters that have an alternate backup mind that's just completely separate from the initial surface one. That's just how I see it. Feel free to disagree with this take in the comments, but I'm standing on it because it's pretty logical considering how things work in the Narutoverse. It's so crazy that Bijus like the Nine-Tails can literally take over Naruto's body even without his permission. That's how much control and manipulation a Biju can have over its hosts. So it's just two separate minds. That's why Genjutsu wouldn't affect the Eight-Tails, it will affect Killer Bee instead. And then because the Gyuki is completely unaffected by it, he will just break Killer Bee out of it. Another thing to note about Shinji's Bankai is that Shinji himself isn't even immune to its effect. He actually has to get protected from it. That's why he gets covered by the golden flower petal. And this would suck for Shinji because he's basically sitting duck there. In reference to my initial points, he's too slow to capture everybody at once under the effects of that Bankai. At best, it will affect the majority of the verse, which happen to be the low to mid tier shinobis, but the high tiers will surely get out of there before it hits, and that will be easy to do. They can simply outrun the mist, and the others that have a real advantage can simply fly out of the Bankai's range. And it will be hilarious because now it's just little old Shinji in his flower shield versus crazy motherfuckers like my guy, Killer Bee Naruto, who can just launch long-range nukes and obliterate him and his entire garden into dust. He's actually very funny because Shinji is going to try and peep out of his shield to see what's going on, and the first thing he's going to see is a Biju bomb that is just going to blast him. Besides, this entire debate itself is pretty dumb in my opinion, because logically speaking, if everybody in the Narutoverse gathered to fight him on some Madara vs Shinobi Alliance type shit, 1v everybody, characters like Itachi and other Uchihas can just put him under a Genjutsu as soon as he steps onto the battlefield. Like before he says Bankai is dead, To think that Shinji would just say Bankai and automatically capture everyone under its effect without considering things like attack speed or movement speed or reaction speed or certain counters that his opponents may have is just disingenuous. You would have to take away all common sense for shit like that to occur, and we all know that that's never going to happen, especially with Bleach characters having this attitude of stupidly explaining their ability to their enemies, how it works and everything. Like, Naruto characters, especially the top tiers, they are all battle geniuses that with enough little time and analysis, they will definitely figure out how the Bankai works and shut it down. But to think that Shinji by himself can just open his big mouth and tell them everything, I mean, come on, let's be real. There's just no way. So long story short, saying Shinji solos the Narutoverse is just... it is some insane fanboy wanking, bro. Like, you need to relax. But regardless, the Bankai is a very dangerous ability, and it will cause serious damage if it's utilized to its fullest convenience. But when all things are considered, there's ways around it. After all, every jutsu has a weakness. So, and one thing everybody should know is that having a dangerous ability isn't always enough. I said it earlier, an ability or an attack is only as relevant as if it lands. Because unless you land that ability on your target, it's just as useless as not having it at all. This shit is power scaling 101. Come on, man. It's like giving me a gun. Yeah, you give me a gun, maybe a rifle or a hand pistol, and you're telling me to shoot the Flash. And then, maybe the gun you gave me, it has the power to actually kill him in 2 hits or maybe 1 hit. But then I have to shoot down the Flash. This guy moves faster than I can think. So what good is the gun you gave me? Maybe the gun you gave me is like Mark 10, moves at the bullet speed is Mark 10. The Flash can move so fast that he will start teleporting, and you want me to shoot him. How now? How am I going to land a shot on the Flash? So the gun is useless, that's the point. Shinji can have a devastating ability all he wants, but in a typical battle scenario with everybody fighting in character, would he be able to catch everybody under its effects? Hell no. That's just facts. It's just not going to happen. So, and then there's also the argument that Sharingan users who have complete control and resistance to mind manipulation can just snap themselves out of it, but that's another whole different argument that I'm not trying to get into. If you guys want me to make a video on that one, I don't mind though. Just let me know down in the comments. So yeah, man, Shinji isn't soloing no damn Narutoverse, bro. You all need to chill out. That's it for the video, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, make sure you smash the like button. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, man. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.